Hello everyone and welcome to this week's short commentary of one of the top 50 brevities that was selected by the periodical Qiyi that was published back in about 2006 or 7. This was bout 18 and the match that we will be going through today was played in the 1986 Chinese National Xiangqi Individual Championships. Red was Grandmaster Xu Tianhong from Jiangsu, who was a master at that time, and Black was a more renowned and senior master called Deng Songhong from Guangdong province. Grandmaster Xu Tianhong would become the national champion in 1989, where he won it was the first and only time he won the Chinese National Xiangqi Individual Championships, but he won it with a perfect with a win record that consisted of no losses. He heads the Jiangsu Xiangqi Academy now and has been one of the strongest players on the Xiangqi scene for the past 3 decades. A URL has been given below to his short autobiography that I've written on my site. Okay, so without further ado, let us begin our match. The master Xu Tianhong started with the pawn opening and his opponent countered with the pawn opening also. Now in this type of opening system, both players would adopt a wait and see approach to see how their enemies would choose to attack and try to formulate their counters more precisely. So in the match, Grandmaster Xu Tianhong chose to play c2 equals to 3, which would target the elephant and pawn in the same file, and Black countered aggressively with the central cannon. In that match, Red continued with c8 equals to 5. Now c8 equals to 5 is rather unusual, and currently the most popular played counter would be h8 plus 7. Now, there were a lot of variations that were given in the periodical Qiyi, which I've included in my website. However, it will be too tedious to go over them, and please do feel free to go through the variations that are given, which are quite orthodox. And after playing c8 equals to 5, it will be an opposite direction cannon game. Black would continue to develop his horse, and so would Red. Both players would develop their horses as proper horses, and Black chose to develop his right horse as a edge horse, and Red did the same thing, so it was basically a symmetrical or mirror position of each other. So far so good. And in this match, Black continued with r1 equals to 2, choosing to develop his right chariot as a file chariot. c2 equals to 3 would be another viable option, which is considered to be one of the orthodox ways of playing this position. Again, some variations and sub-variations were given in the periodical Qiyi, which I shall not include over here. And because Black had played r1 equals to 2, Red decided to play p1 plus 1. Now, this was quite an exquisite move because it prepared for development of both horses. Black continued with a6 plus 5, and Red chose to develop his right chariot as a rank chariot. Now, at this point in time, Black played c5 equals to 4 to adjust his defensive position. Now this is quite rare nowadays, and usually h7 plus 6 is played. A given line in the book was and after trading cannons, Red would have the slight advantage at this point in time, although Black would be attacking Red's right flank. A possible attack would be to go for the elbow horse, but the red cannon would have protected the elephant, and Red would be threatening with the iron ball checkmate by advancing the advisor, followed by k5 equals to 4 for the iron bolt. So Red would have the slight advantage in this situation. So nowadays, although h7 plus 6 is played, it will still be to red's favor. So c5 equals to 4 was given, and red continued with r1 equals to 4, p1 plus 1 to develop, or to prepare to develop the black horse. And red charged his horse to the riverbank. The main idea behind this move is to capture the central pawn, so that red would gain a central pawn in the process, and also be able to solidify his defenses by moving one of the elephants to the central file. Now, black chose to protect the central file in this manner, and the horse, Grandmaster Xu Tianhong used his horse to capture the other pawn. Now, red would be threatening to capture the edge horse and also push his pawn across the river. These are some of the threats that were available after making this move. Black countered with c2 equals to 3, which was a offer to trade chariots, which red accepted. And at this point in time, so far the moves are considered to be orthodox or okay. Now at this point in time, red chose to play c5 equals to 7. Now this would be a prophylactic move to prevent b5 plus 1, as the chariot would be then attacking the red horse, which unfortunately black did do so. Now pushing p5 plus 1 will actually weaken black's formation. Instead, h2 plus 1 would have been better. Red would solidify his position, and black would move his horse across to the riverbank, and black could be prepared to play p5 plus 1 followed by h minus 4 for a very staunch defensive position. So h2 plus 1 should have been played, but so far, although the black's position was weakened, black would still have a playable game. Red will consolidate his defenses. Now this elephant is moved because, first of all, the red chariot was blocking the elephant from moving to the central file, and this elephant was needed to protect the red horse on the edge file to prevent any potential fork by the black chariot. And black chose to play c8 equals to 4 to protect the central pawn. Unfortunately, this would mark the beginning of black's demise. Red chose to play r4 equals to 8 to target the black horse. And at this time, because there was already a change in the position on the board, red chose to capture the black horse very decisively. Now this was a good move, which might seem to go against common sense, because the red horse had played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just to trade for a black horse that had only made one move. However, because of the position on the board, red would actually gain some initiative with this move. By capturing the edge horse, red would now threaten with the elbow horse attack and force black to capture the pawn and to prevent the elbow horse attack at this point. And red would deftly retreat his horse back to the riverbank to threaten to capture the black chariot. And black fell for the trap and played r4 equals to 2, thinking that he would pin the red horse and the chariot in the same file, and was prepared to gain material with c4 equals to 2. Now, red would capture the black cannon and threaten to checkmate with c7 plus 7 for the smothered cannon checkmate, which black had to defend against or prevent with e3 plus 5. Now, at this point in time, red was not worried about losing material. Instead, he played c7 equals to 9 for a very brilliant strategy. Black continued, thinking that he would gain material in the process, and red chose to capture the edge pawn. Now at this point we can see that black would have 1, 2, 3 major pieces left on the board, while red had 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces left on the board. So it would seem that black was ready to even the odds in terms of material at any point now. However, red was prepared and chose to move his cannon to the edge file, where it could now attack the bottom rank and also the central pawn. Now black could not decided to even the odds, but at this point red played r8 plus 3. Now at this point in time, the space that black would have to move his cannon and chariot was severely compressed, and it would take at least 1 or 2 moves to try to move the cannon to try to ease the pressure on this situation. Unfortunately, red was prepared to play p7 plus 1 at this point in time, and that was why red decided to black decided to resign, because there was nothing that he could do to try to prevent the loss of material, and any loss of material that severe or of that magnitude at this point in the mid game would definitely lead to a loss for red. So that was why black resigned, and red would win the game very easily within the span of 21 plies. Now I think this board is very creative in the way that red gained material to secure a winning position. Now the concepts of capturing material to limit the position of the enemy pieces is very important, and I think it is one of the textbook, this can be considered to be one of the textbook material in this situation. So I hope you've enjoyed this very short commentary, and if you like the work I do, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.